Gothic Chandelier Thrift Flip. Here's a chandelier I bought in the before times to kind of refurbish and then hopefully use in my bedroom. It's a little beat up and pretty dusty, but I think with some stripping and cleaning, I could bring it up to snuff. One of the issues I noticed when testing it when I brought it home was that one of the sockets was faulty. Now, I knew this because when I plugged it in, I started to smell a very distinct burnt hair smell, and that is very common with faulty wiring in old lamps, and I knew to immediately unplug this lamp and buy some new wiring, which I did. So today I just wanted to show you how I went about rewiring and kind of refurbishing this vintage chandelier that I very luckily didn't have to paint black because it already was, so that kind of made it easy on my part. I will say I've never wired anything before, and I'm obviously not a professional, but this was a lot of fun and pretty easy to learn. I watched a couple videos online. I thought it was going to be a lot harder than it was, but it's really quite simple as long as you're paying attention and being very careful, because again, this is electricity we're dealing with here. You really don't want to shock yourself because it does not feel good. So if you can see that copper wire sticking out after I pull out the main plug wire, that is the grounding wire. So I could tell later on that this lamp was normally, the chandelier, was actually meant to be wired into the ceiling, but someone else had actually turned it into a plug-in. Or maybe it came with both options and someone just decided to turn it into the plug-in style, but left the copper wire, in case they wanted to ground it later, into the ceiling. Now, I don't plan on grounding this into the ceiling, obviously, because I bought the wiring kit, and I don't think I'll be doing that in the future either, so I just end up removing that later. It just kind of gets in the way, and it makes me a little nervous to have random copper wire sitting in there around other wires, so thought better safe than sorry, just take it out. One thing I learned from working on this project was definitely that you should take the lamp apart before you start ordering products to fix it, because I ordered some lamp wire like on a spool from Amazon, but I didn't end up using any of it, so I luckily was able to return it. But yeah, definitely get an idea of what you actually need first before you start going order happy on Amazon or wherever you like to get your supplies from, because you may not end up needing everything that you think you might need in the beginning of the process. Or you might end up needing even more things than you thought you needed, and it's just better to kind of get it all in one sitting, especially during the times that we are currently in. It's just a little easier that way, ordering wise and money wise, if you're trying to keep an eye on how much you're spending on this project. Trying to get the new cord in was certainly difficult, again, because I'm not a professional at this, but also because I didn't account for the fact that the cord goes all the way through that thin tube in the center of the chandelier. So my cord just barely fit through that tube, but I had to do quite a bit of dismantling to the actual chandelier to get it to go through. I was very, very nervous because, I had to fully unpackage the cord, so it's not like I could probably easily return it if it didn't fit. So again, just make a note about dimensions of your pieces if you're working on a lamp. Just generally be smarter and a little more attentive, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say here. Yeah. Also, never forget positives with positives, negatives with negatives. Don't mix this up, because that's how you shock yourself or potentially cause some electrical fire fun times. So again, be careful. Make sure that you stay informed and learn about this from a professional rather than me or someone who doesn't know what they're talking about when it comes to electricity and how to wire. So it's right around here where I realized that I need to actually cut down my candles because they're too tall for these light bulbs to reach the sockets. However, these are actually not the light bulbs I ended up going with in the end. These are what was originally with the chandelier, and they definitely contributed to the smell problem, because even after rewiring the chandelier, it still smelled weird. So there's definitely a better way to trim these candles. The way I do it, I would not necessarily recommend, but I would suggest either doing it with more of like a bandsaw or something a bit sharper than just a regular handsaw, or at least making sure that you get an accurate cut and then sanding the edges when you're done. These are things I didn't do because I'm lazy and I don't really care, because it's something that you don't really see, but it can affect your product. Now I can put all the random pieces I took off the chandelier back on because I tested it and know that it works, and I won't have to take them all off to fix any wiring for at least the time being. Now that I replaced the sockets, I can take off this blue tape and I no longer have to watch out for that specific socket. So originally there were some glass crystals on this that were black and some plastic beads that were like the chains between the different sides. So I just bought some more like red crystals because that kind of goes with our room theme more, is red, black, and purple. And I bought some black glass crystal chains to be instead of the plastic beads. Now there's still plastic beads all over the base of the chandelier, but that would be a little bit more difficult for me to take off and replace. And yeah, I'm lazy, so I just wanted some superficial easy fixes rather than like really crazy in-depth transformation kind of stuff. But you can see me here measuring out the same lengths from the plastic beads with the glass crystals and making my not really cuts but more of separations between the chain links. You can see I played around a little bit with the placements of some of the red jewels. I end up changing this later, but I do put a bunch on the bottom when I have those chains put in. I feel like it added kind of more of a chaotic elegance, if that makes sense. Time for the final reveal. And here's the final product. It looks so much better now that all the crystals were replaced. It was missing some crystals and chains before. This looks so much better, and it fits in with our Gothic bedroom so nicely. I love it. If you liked what you saw here today, make sure to subscribe and check out some of my previous Gothic decor videos. See you next time. Keep it creepy.